Marcus Thompson stood in the middle of the Manhattan federal courtroom, his janitor's uniform still damp with cleaning solution. As every eye in the room turned toward him, "I will defend him." His voice carried across the marble halls, steady despite the tremor in his hands. At the defendant's table, Dylan Rodriguez, the tech billionaire worth $14 billion, looked up with complete disbelief. None of them knew that this simple moment would mark the beginning of the unraveling of one of the darkest conspiracies in American corporate history. Before we dive into this powerful story of justice, courage, and second chances, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. If you believe that love and authenticity deserve protection under the law, don't forget to like and subscribe to Heart Stories. Stories about hidden heroes like Marcus deserve to be told, and you won't want to miss them. The autumn sunlight of New York filtered through the tall windows of the courthouse, casting streaks of light across the marble floor that Marcus had just finished cleaning, 5 in the morning, just like every day for the past 12 years. He was already there, a 32-year-old man with sandy brown hair and deep green eyes, dressed in a Navy maintenance uniform with facilities embroidered on the chest pocket. The tiny apartment in Queens was still pitch black when he left at 4. The room had only a single bed, a small stove, and a bare wall adorned with just one photo, a picture of him and Jake from 8 years ago, before the accident took away the man he loved. Marcus didn't turn on the lights when he left home. Winter electricity bills were high, and with a salary of $2,800 a month, every penny mattered. But Marcus hadn't always been invisible. 12 years ago, he had been one of the rising stars at Whitfield and Associates, a prestigious law firm in Manhattan. He had a corner office overlooking Central Park, the reputation of never losing a major case, and a brilliant future, until everything collapsed. Until Jake died in that suspicious car accident 3 days after Marcus had refused to drop the Atlantic Energy case. By 9 a.m., the courtroom was packed. At the defense table, Dylan Rodriguez sat alone. He was 28, with dark hair and warm brown eyes that carried an exhaustion beyond his years. Next to him were 6 empty chairs reserved for his legal team from Preston, Holloway, and Schmidt. But they didn't show up. "All rise," the court officer announced. Judge Carolyn Fisk entered, stern and experienced. She paused when her eyes landed on the empty chairs. "Mr. Rodriguez, where is your legal team?" Dylan stood, trying to stay composed, but his voice trembled. "I don't know, Your Honor. They were here yesterday, but no one answered my calls." "Your Honor," Prosecutor Catherine Morris rose with a triumphant smile. "It is clear the defense has been abandoned. We move for a default judgment." The courtroom erupted with murmurs. Judge Fisk sighed. "If you have no legal representation, the court cannot delay indefinitely. I am forced to. I will defend him." Marcus Thompson stood there next to his cleaning cart, his heart hammering against his ribs. This wasn't just about justice anymore. This was about everything he had lost, everything Jake had died for, and everything he still believed in. Sometimes the most powerful moments happen when someone refuses to stay silent, even when the world expects them to remain invisible. That evening, Marcus sat across from Dylan in a small Queens diner, far from Manhattan's elite circles. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead as steam rose from 2 cups of coffee that had long since grown cold. Marcus had changed into a simple button-down shirt and jeans. For the first time in 12 years, he felt like a lawyer again. "Why?" Dylan asked quietly. "You don't know me. You risk everything for a stranger." Marcus wrapped his hands around his coffee cup. "Because I know what it's like to stand alone in that courtroom while everyone you trusted walks away. And because sometimes the right thing to do is the only thing to do." Dylan's shoulders sagged with relief. "My fusion energy technology isn't just about clean power. It could eliminate fossil fuels entirely. Every coal plant, every oil rig could become obsolete within 20 years. Marcus leaned forward. This wasn't just corporate espionage. This was about trillions of dollars in threatened industry. Who's behind the lawsuit? Nexus Innovations? Supposedly. But I've never heard of them before 3 months ago. Dylan pulled out a thick folder. Something felt wrong about their background. 20 minutes later, they sat in Marcus's small apartment while his sister Sophia's laptop screen filled with corporate flowcharts. Sophia Thompson was 28, a data analyst with the same green eyes as her brother but none of his scars. Her talent was seeing patterns others missed. "I started with Nexus Innovations, like you asked," Sophia said, fingers flying across the keyboard. "Clean on the surface, but the ownership structure gets interesting." She pulled up documents. Nexus is owned by shell companies that eventually lead back to Meridian Energy Corporation. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. Meridian Energy. "You know them," Dylan asked, noticing Marcus's expression. "They destroyed my career 12 years ago," Marcus said quietly. "An engineer was whistleblowing about safety violations. 3 workers died. I had evidence, but it vanished from my office. They said I fabricated it, forged documents. I was disbarred." His voice grew softer. 3 days after I refused to back down, Jake died in a car accident that was never properly investigated. Sophia reached across and squeezed her brother's hand. "There's more. Meridian Energy has connections to 4 other major energy conglomerates, 2 defense contractors, and sitting members of the House Energy Committee. When your technology appeared, Dylan, they didn't just see a threat to their business. They saw the end of their world." Over the next several days, they worked methodically through documents and connections. Marcus felt something awakening that had been dormant for 12 years. Not just the lawyer he used to be, but the man he was meant to be. Late one night, working in Marcus's small kitchen, Dylan had looked up from his laptop. The man in the photo, Jake. What was he like? Marcus was quiet for so long that Dylan thought he wouldn't answer. Then, softly, he was a paramedic, spent his days saving lives, evenings volunteering at the community center. He used to say love wasn't something you kept to yourself. It was something you gave away. Marcus's voice caught. He was braver than I ever was. Out, proud, never hid who he was. When I was scared to take the case against Meridian, afraid of what it might cost us, he told me some fights are worth the risk. "I think he'd be proud of what you're doing now," Dylan said quietly. Marcus looked up, meeting Dylan's eyes. For the first time in 12 years, he felt like Jake's sacrifice might finally mean something. Sometimes healing doesn't come from forgetting the past, but from finding courage to honor it by building something better in the present. The threat started subtly, like shadows creeping across a sunny day. Marcus first noticed the black sedan parked outside his Queens apartment building. The driver never got out, never moved, just watched. When Marcus approached one evening, it drove away. But the message was clear: you are being watched. Dylan's Upper East Side apartment was broken into the same night. Nothing was stolen, but everything was searched. Drawers yanked open, papers scattered, laptop hard drive wiped clean. The doorman claimed he never saw anyone suspicious, but his eyes wouldn't meet Dylan's. Money had changed hands. Sophia's world crumbled piece by piece. Her consulting firm lost 3 major clients in a week. Her landlord suddenly decided to sell her apartment. Her laptop was hacked, though thankfully she had backed up research to an encrypted server. Carmen Vasquez, Dylan's longtime assistant, began acting strangely. She avoided eye contact, stammered when asked simple questions, was often absent without explanation. Marcus's legal instincts told him something was wrong, but Dylan trusted Carmen completely. The breaking point came on a rainy Wednesday evening. Dylan was leaving his office when a black SUV ran a red light, heading straight for his car. His driver, a former New York cop, swerved hard. The car spun twice before crashing into a lamppost. Dylan escaped with bruises and a concussion, but the message was clear: back down or face consequences. They moved to Dylan's Hamptons estate that night. For Marcus, walking into that world felt like stepping onto an alien planet. The estate was spacious, elegant, filled with art and furniture that cost more than his annual salary. He felt like an imposter, but Dylan moved through the space without pretension. Sophia arrived the next day with 2 suitcases and her laptop. During quiet evenings, conversations flowed beyond the case. Dylan talked about his Texas childhood, son of immigrants who worked 3 months to pay for his MIT education. Sophia shared stories about finding patterns in data. And slowly, Marcus began opening up about Jake, about the life they had built together. One night in the library, Dylan looked up from his laptop. "Do you ever think about dating again?" "It's been 12 years since Jake died." Marcus set down his pen. "For a long time, I couldn't imagine it. Jake wasn't just my boyfriend. He was my future. When he died, that future died with him." He paused. "But lately, working on this case, feeling like myself again, I wonder if maybe I've been hiding from life instead of living it. Fear keeps us safe, but it also keeps us alone." Dylan said, "What about you? A brilliant, successful man like you must have people lining up." Dylan laughed sadly. "Success attracts interest, but not genuine connection. Most people see the money, the headlines. They don't see the man who eats cereal for dinner and spent last Christmas alone." The growing connection made the next threat more personal. Carmen called Dylan late one night, sobbing. "They have my immigration records, my mother's deportation case from 15 years ago. They say if I don't help them, they'll have her sent back to El Salvador." Dylan met her at a midtown coffee shop, Marcus beside him. Carmen looked like she hadn't slept in weeks, trembling around her coffee cup. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "They made me copy files, install software, report your schedule. I never wanted to betray you, but my mother is all I have." Through tears, Carmen revealed the extent of surveillance, hidden cameras in Dylan's office, keystroke loggers, tracking devices. Meridian hadn't just been watching from distance. They had infiltrated every aspect of Dylan's life. "There's something else," Carmen whispered. "I overheard a phone call. They're planning something called permanent resolution if the legal approach fails." As they walked to the car, Dylan grabbed Marcus's arm. "If something happens to me, nothing's going to happen," Marcus interrupted firmly. "I lost Jake because I wasn't strong enough to protect him. I won't lose anyone else." The words hung between them, loaded with meaning neither was ready to acknowledge. Sometimes the greatest courage isn't found in grand gestures, but in the simple decision to refuse to let fear dictate your choices. Carmen's revelation changed everything. The next morning, Marcus paced Dylan's office while October wind rattled windows outside. Sophia burst in, laptop clutched against her chest. "I found something," she announced. "Carmen helped me access Gregory Vance's communication system." She opened her laptop, revealing emails, texts, and recorded calls. "Everything is here, the entire conspiracy." Marcus read evidence that could destroy Meridian Energy, plans to eliminate Dylan's technology, communications with corrupted officials, financial records showing millions in bribes. Most chilling were recent messages about alternative solutions and permanent termination. Dylan joined them. "They're really going to kill me." "Not if we stop them first," Marcus said firmly. "This evidence is enough to bring down their entire operation." As Sophia backed up files to encrypted servers, the estate's security system began blaring. Through windows, they saw black SUVs surrounding the property, men in tactical gear emerging with military precision. Marcus grabbed Dylan's hand. "Safe room, now." They ran through marble hallways, their footsteps echoing. Behind them, windows shattered, doors were forced open. Sophia clutched her laptop as the steel doors sealed behind them. Through monitors, they watched Dylan's protective detail engage attackers. These were professionals with automatic weapons and body armor. Marcus counted 8 men, moving with coordination that spoke of unlimited funding. Marcus was on the encrypted phone to the FBI. "This is Marcus Thompson. We're under attack at Dylan Rodriguez's Hamptons estate. Multiple armed assailants. We have evidence of conspiracy involving Meridian Energy. We need immediate assistance. Nearest response unit is 20 minutes out." 20 minutes might as well have been 20 hours. On monitors, they watched attackers methodically clear rooms, searching for their hiding place. Dylan sat beside Marcus. If we don't make it out, I want you to know these past weeks, working with you, feeling like I had someone who understood me, it's been the best part of my life in years. Marcus turned to face him. Dylan, An explosion shook the house. Through monitors, they saw attackers placing charges on the safe room door. That's when they heard sirens. FBI tactical teams surrounded the estate, followed by police, state troopers, federal marshals. The attackers found themselves outgunned and surrounded. Agent Sarah Chen led the team that secured the safe room. You're safe now, she announced as the door opened. We've been monitoring Meridian Energy's communications. When we intercepted tonight's plans, we positioned response teams throughout the area. Gregory Vance and 7 executives were arrested 3 hours ago, she said with satisfaction. The evidence you gathered is more than enough to dismantle their operation. They're going to prison for a very long time. The next morning, Marcus stood in the federal courthouse as a lawyer, not a janitor. Prosecutor Catherine Morris rose with obvious reluctance. Your Honor, in light of the arrests and evidence presented, the prosecution moves to dismiss all charges against Dylan Rodriguez. The courtroom erupted in cheers. Marcus barely heard the celebration, focused entirely on Dylan, who sat beside him with tears in his eyes. As they walked out together, Dylan moved closer. I meant what I said in the safe room. These weeks with you reminded me what it feels like to trust someone completely. Marcus felt his heart race with hope, not fear. I thought I would never feel this way again. After Jake died, I convinced myself love was too dangerous to risk. And now, Dylan asked softly, now I think Jake would want me to be happy. He would want me to love again. Marcus leaned closer. And I think I could love you, if you'll let me. Their first kiss was tentative, careful. 2 people learning to trust their hearts again. It carried the weight of everything they had survived together and everything they were brave enough to hope for. Sometimes the most profound love stories begin not with passion, but with partnership, with the courage to stand beside someone when the world seems against them. 6 months later, Marcus stood outside a renovated Brooklyn brownstone, looking up at the sign reading Thompson Rodriguez Legal Justice Center. Spring sunlight caught the rainbow flag hanging beside the American flag, both dancing in the breeze. Dylan stood beside him, their hands intertwined, watching Sophia direct computer installation through large front windows. The center represented everything they had fought for: legal help for people without resources, advocates for LGBTQ+ individuals facing discrimination, justice not determined by wealth but by truth and courage. Dylan had funded the initial setup, but the real power came from lawyers, paralegals, and volunteers who had joined their mission. Marcus wore a simple gray suit, professional but not pretentious. His law license had been fully restored after the FBI investigation revealed the conspiracy that destroyed his career. Dylan chose jeans and a button-down shirt, looking more like a neighborhood volunteer than a billionaire entrepreneur. The morning's first clients were already waiting: Maria Santos facing housing discrimination, James Mitchell, a gay teenager thrown out by parents, and Robert Chen, whose insurance company denied coverage for his husband's medical treatment. Sophia emerged from the building, tablet in hand. At 28, she had left corporate consulting to become the center's operations director. We're ready, she announced. 5 lawyers on staff, 3 paralegals, partnerships with housing advocates and counselors, and we already have 43 cases on the waiting list. The opening ceremony was deliberately personal. Local religious leaders offered blessings, but the most powerful moment came when James Mitchell stepped forward to cut the ribbon. 6 months ago, I was sleeping in Central Park because my family called me an abomination, he said, voice strong despite shaking hands. Today, I have an apartment, I'm back in school, and I have lawyers who believe I deserve love and respect. This place gives people like me hope. As the ribbon fell and people applauded, Marcus felt Dylan's hand squeeze his. They had navigated the complexities of love between two men from different worlds. Dylan had attended his first Pride Parade, not as spectacle, but as Marcus's boyfriend, wearing a Proud Ally shirt and holding Marcus's hand through Manhattan streets. That afternoon, alone in Marcus's future office, Dylan asked, "Are you happy?" Marcus considered the question seriously. Happiness had seemed impossible for years after Jake's death. But looking around the office, thinking about cases they would take, lives they might change, he realized happiness wasn't just possible, it was already here. "I am," he said simply. "For the first time since Jake died, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." Dylan moved around the desk, pulling Marcus to his feet. "I love you. I love your passion for justice, your refusal to give up, the way you see people's humanity even when they can't see it themselves." Marcus kissed him softly, amazed he was capable of this depth of feeling again. "I love you too, and I love what we're building together." As sunset cast long shadows through office windows, Marcus thought about his journey. 12 years ago, he had lost everything. The man who destroyed his life had tried to do the same to Dylan, not understanding that broken people, when they find each other, become unbreakable. The work ahead would be challenging. Civil rights law rarely offered easy victories, but Marcus had learned the most important battles weren't won in dramatic courtroom moments. They were won in small offices like this one, in conversations with scared teenagers, in the daily decision to show up for people who had nowhere else to turn. Outside, Brooklyn came alive with evening sounds, children playing, neighbors calling in multiple languages, distant music from a block party celebrating another small victory in the ongoing fight for justice. "Ready to change the world?" Dylan asked with a smile. "One case at a time," Marcus replied. Their love story hadn't begun with passion, but with partnership, with two people choosing to stand together when everything seemed lost. Perhaps that was the most powerful kind of love, built on shared values, mutual respect, encouraged to fight for something bigger than themselves. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't defeating enemies, but discovering that healing and hope are possible even after the deepest wounds. Sometimes justice isn't just about courtrooms, but about creating spaces where people can be themselves without fear. What does justice mean to you? Is it about punishment, or creating a world where everyone can live with dignity? Share your thoughts below, and subscribe to Heart Stories for more inspiring tales of courage, love, and standing up for what's right. Every story of justice begins with someone brave enough to say, "This is wrong, and I'm going to do something about it."